Gone are the days of cold-blooded evil queens. See witches with contracts, or power-hungry lions, the evil villains. Now it's all tragic backstories, misunderstood intentions, and redemption arcs wrapped in sparkly musical numbers. But then came Frozen, and for a moment it looked like Disney was bringing villainy back. With Hans, he was charming and manipulative, a prince who played the long game, gained everyone's trust, and waited for the perfect moment to strike, the total villain. But then I thought, if Disney could twist Hans like that, if they could give us a wolf in royal clothing and pretend it was a plot twist, then what if there's someone even more twisted, hiding in plain sight? Someone who doesn't sing about evil intentions, someone who doesn't meet a sword or a throne, someone who erases memories, controls fate, and smiles while doing it. I am talking about the trolls, the rock guys, the fixer-uppers who roll in with hugs and songs, and suspiciously vague ancient magic. So let me just rip the band-aid off. The trolls in Frozen aren't your harmless musical lawn rocks. They're the real villains. And yes, I said villains. Now, before anyone comes running to defend them but they were cute and sang songs and made flower crowns. Let's talk about where trolls actually come from. I mean, the original ones. The ones that weren't filtered through a Disney script. In Norse mythology, trolls were known for being shady. Not shady like gossip shady. Shady like they will literally trick you into your doom. Whether they lived in caves or mountains, they were known for using nature to mess with humans, causing storms, confusing travelers, and just generally being nature's biggest trolls. And no, they weren't the friendly neighborhood kind. They were the get off my land or I'll eat you kind. This trickster vibe isn't just in ancient stories either. Think about the trolls in The Lord of the Rings. One of them nearly crushes Frodo in Moria and brings chaos with him. In The Hobbit, 3 trolls try to roast Bilbo and the dwarves for dinner. And in Harry Potter, the troll in the bathroom, it didn't show up to sing Kumbaya. It showed up swinging a club. Even Netflix got in on this. In Troll 2022, the troll literally storms through military zones like a one-creature natural disaster. It doesn't talk, but is pure destruction in rocky form. Now, compare all of that with Frozen. Same vibe, just in a cuter package. The trolls might sing, but they're still doing what trolls do best. Confusing people, manipulating emotions, and pulling strings behind the scenes in Arendelle. Let me set the stage for you. Hans is the obvious suspect for the villain because he's sneaky and tries to take the throne. But his plan doesn't really add up, and we'll get to that later. Meanwhile, the trolls have been quietly manipulating everything from the start. They're trusted by the royal family, they mess with memories, and they even control who gets close to the throne. And it all starts way earlier than you think. In the beginning of the movie, when baby Anna gets hurt by Elsa's magic, the king and queen don't call a doctor. They don't even consult a healer or anyone in their royal court. They head straight to the trolls. Why? Because the trolls are the only magical beings they know. They understand magic. The only ones, besides their daughter, who possess powers beyond human understanding. The king and queen weren't looking for a memory wipe. They were hoping for guidance. I mean, who would want that for their child? They were looking for a way to help Elsa understand her powers, control them, and perhaps use them for good. They wanted answers, maybe even a mentor for their daughter. But instead of offering understanding or encouragement, the trolls turn the situation into a fear-based cautionary tale. They show Elsa a terrifying vision of what could happen if she loses control. Not what will happen, what might. And then, without hesitation, they remove Anna's memories of the magic entirely. And just like that, the strongest bond in the entire kingdom, 2 sisters who adored each other, is fractured. Elsa grows up terrified of herself. Anna grows up feeling abandoned and confused. And a royal family that once had love at its core now functions like strangers under one roof. Because when a family can't keep itself together, how can they be expected to keep a kingdom together? And that, right there, is how things quietly started unraveling in Frozen. All courtesy of the trolls. If you think that was just a one-time intervention, think again. The trolls weren't done. In fact, that was just the opening move. They had a whole plan for the longer run, and that involved Kristoff. The trolls basically raised Kristoff, and I say he didn't just get adopted, but the trolls wiped his memories of his real family, if he even had one left. Because let's be honest, there's no way he was just dropped on the streets like a stray puppy. Arendelle was clearly a thriving, well-functioning kingdom. In Frozen 1, the Duke of Weselton literally calls Arendelle his closest trading partner. That's not just small talk, that's political and economic significance. Arendelle is an economic hub. The town is bustling with trade, music, and color. The people are well fed, dressed in clean, tailored clothes, and seem gainfully employed. You don't see starving beggars or run-down alleyways. Even the ice cutters have regulated jobs, equipment, and a system. So how did Kristoff, a child no less, slip through those cracks? How did a young boy grow poor, scraping by in the ice trade, with nothing but a baby reindeer and a sled, in a kingdom where poverty isn't even shown? That is because trolls needed one of them to take the throne. They didn't rescue Kristoff, but isolated him. They kept him away from society, raised him in the wilderness. By doing this, the trolls shaped Kristoff into the perfect candidate to marry into the royal family, without him even realizing it. And then the trolls go full spin doctors and fixer-upper. Disney doesn't write songs without purpose. Every lyric is a narrative signal. Take Tangled, when Mother Gothel croons, "Mother knows best." Mother knows, listen to your mother, it's a snanny world, there. There you clearly know she's gaslighting Rapunzel. This isn't maternal advice, it's fear-based emotional control that is pretty clear. Now listen closely to Fixer-Upper. And everything's up, is at least got a few thought you, but you preclude your brain gears, and with the rain, you're daffodil outside, and answers the. Anna is already engaged to Hans, and the trolls are gleefully plotting to remove him, like an obstacle in their long game. This matchmaking is strategic relationship engineering. Disney songs aren't filler, they reflect character intention. Just as Gothel uses Mother Knows Best to keep Rapunzel trapped, like Hans sang, "Love is an open door," to convey his feelings. The trolls use Fixer-Upper to steer Anna's future toward their mold. And speaking of Hans' true intentions, the so-called surprise villain of Frozen, who out of nowhere flips from dreamy to diabolical like someone hit the evil switch on his back. And yes, we all gasp. But here's the thing. His entire villain arc, it doesn't even make sense. Hans' big evil plan was to marry Anna, kill both sisters, and become king of Arendelle. Sounds intense, right? Except, there's a major problem with that plan. It literally could never work. Like, not even in a cartoon. Hans is the 13th son in his own royal family. That's so far down the line of succession, he probably doesn't even get a room with windows. Even if Anna married him, he wouldn't automatically become king. Monarchies don't play musical chairs with crowns. You either have royal blood or you don't, and he doesn't. So unless Frozen was planning to throw in a Game of Thrones-style cousin marriage subplot, Hans had zero claim to the throne, which makes his plan completely pointless. And that's the part that really raises eyebrows, because Hans isn't dumb. He grew up in royalty. He would know that this marry and murder route isn't how thrones are won. But you know who might not know that? Trolls, magical rock-shaped forest gremlins who don't study political science, which brings us to the weirdest part of all. Hans wasn't even acting like a villain for most of the movie. In fact, he was kind of great. He saved Elsa from getting shot. He gave food and shelter to Arendelle's people. He defended the sisters when other leaders doubted them. He even looked genuinely heartbroken when Anna left. If he was secretly evil the whole time, he really overcommitted to the bit. Like Oscar-level performance. But Hans only turns into a villain after Anna and Kristoff visit the trolls. Right after the trolls sing their little fixer-upper matchmaking song and find out Anna is engaged. Suddenly, Hans is no longer Mr. Nice Guy. He's back in Arendelle, lying, scheming, and trying to kill people. So what happened in between? Well, guess who was on the trail right behind Anna and Kristoff? They were all heading toward Elsa's ice palace, and right along the way sits the trolls' magical moss pit, basically their brainwashing headquarters. While Anna and Kristoff stopped there to sing about how love fixes everything and nearly got tricked into marriage, Hans would have had just enough time to ride past, take a little scenic detour, and maybe get a quick mental tune-up from our favorite memory-meddling rock squad, and the timeline totally works as well. Hans gets back to Arendelle before Anna, and that might seem odd until you realize one thing. Hans was riding a horse, and Anna was traveling on foot with Kristoff and a reindeer. Hans rides a fjord horse, basically Norway's tank of a horse, strong, sturdy, and built for speed and long-distance travel. So while Amma is climbing cliffs, getting caught in snowstorms, and stopping for spontaneous troll concerts, Hans could have easily made it back faster, even with a quick little pit stop for magical mind manipulation. So there's enough time for the trolls to pull him aside, mess with his motives, and send him back with a whole new mission: sabotage himself. Hans was made into the distraction. A red herring, the decoy boyfriend who made Kristoff look like Prince Charming by comparison. After all the singing, snowstorms, memory wipes, and almost murders, you'd think the chaos in Frozen was just a wild ride with no real mastermind behind it. But that's the beauty of the troll's plan. It was never loud. And by the end of Frozen 2, Kristoff, the troll-raised ice guide with a shaggy reindeer and no royal blood whatsoever, ends up engaged to Princess Amma, and nobody questions it. Not even a little. He goes from delivering ice to delivering vows, and the kingdom eats it up. Which means the trolls pulled off the ultimate heist. They inserted one of their own into the royal bloodline, right under everyone's nose. And once that engagement is locked in, what do the trolls do? They stay behind in Arendelle to look after things. Which sounds all noble and helpful until you remember they just installed their adopted son next to the throne. Let's be honest. Sticking around is less about being caretakers and more about making sure their plan sticks. After all, they've come too far to let anything mess it up now. So yeah, while Elsa's off riding magical water horses and Anna's learning how to be queen, the trolls are quietly celebrating the fact that they played everyone. So, while Disney pointed the finger at Hans, and while Elsa took the blame for being too much, the real manipulators stayed hidden, rolling around in plain sight. And when you see them, casually erase memories, mess with emotions, and push Kristoff into a royal marriage, that's not Disney magic. That's a troll tradition. Let me know what you think. Drop your theories, your rebuttals, or even your favorite suspicious troll moment in the comments.